This will be the day trading recap for Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. So first things first, looking at the pre-market analysis, price did sell off pretty hard overnight, finally breaking below this low volume node that was left on this 617 day that was holding as support for a while, for a couple sessions, finally broke below that. And formed kind of a B shape on this volume profile. So what that kind of shows me is we had a nice sell-off, but then the last few hours of the pre-market, price started to consolidate and form a short-term balance. So I had four main setups really around this short-term balance. The first was short side continuation that I was looking for. If this level could break, we could get a nice rally, or dump down, I should say, into this demand zone down here. That would be a very nice target. My second scenario, which is also off of this level, would be if sellers fail to break this level, if buyers are active. I'm not against going for a mean reversion just into the middle of this balance. And then similar stuff to the upside. It's just that my resistance level that I was watching was this low volume node combined with this balance high, just because the overall trend in the short term is weak. So there's a little bit more bearish look on this, or bias, I guess you could say. So I was looking for rallies into this level for that same type of mean reversion move, looking for the middle. And then if we did see strength into this level, I would then look for pullbacks and long continuation setups to target a retest of this supply that formed on yesterday's drop. So just take a quick look at scenarios 2 and 4. Those are the ones I ended up playing. Both of the long scenarios. So market opens, sells off below our, let me get the level right, 7421. 7421 is right here. We sell off just below it, quickly reclaim. So at that point, I'm pretty locked in on trying longs for that mean reversion. And I do get a nice setup. We get a nice higher low setup, which I'll show right here. Get some good run up, end up stopping out at reduced risk, which is alright, it's going to happen. So look at the entry. So when we break that 7421 level, you can see there's a decent amount of selling coming in right there, and right here. And it all gets absorbed. And then when this aggressive buying comes in and reclaims above that level, that's when I'm like, all right, we've seen absorption below the level from sellers. We've seen buyers now reclaim aggressively. So now we're looking for some type of pullback, hopefully to show exhaustion, and a pullback into that area of absorption, which I have marked out here. So a pullback into here to show exhaustion, be defended by buyers to get an entry long. That's one of my best higher low setups for a long reversal. We get that exact confirmation. I get an entry with 5 points risk. Can't really see as much on this screen. You can just see a clear failed break of that level. And then on this, not too much either. There's kind of a low volume node here on this profile, just showing. It's not really a low volume node I was looking to get in on because it's not super clean, but it does show that price came down below this level. This is where we absorbed those sellers, right down in here. But overall, not a ton of volume transacted down there. Price did not like hanging out below this balance range, which kind of adds a little bit of confluence to the fact that I thought we were going to reverse. So I get in here at 27. You can see this candle right up here. It'll show you right now. We get up to the 33s, so we get 6 points of run up on a 5-point risk. Needed a little bit more for my target. I was able to reduce my risk though, saving myself 2 points, which would have gotten taken full risk if I hadn't. So I lost 3 points on that for a negative 0.6 R. So not a bad trade. At this point, I went to get some coffee, took a break real quick, didn't want to compound my losses, and it did end up setting up again. We kind of had another one of those patterns where we saw absorption and aggression. Then on this candle, there was a bit of exhaustion. I could show you, but I'm going to try to keep this quick, and I didn't take it, so it's whatever. I missed that setup. At this point, I'm getting pretty antsy to get in longs, but when we're hanging out right here, price was already kind of at this 35 area midpoint of this balance. So that's no man's land for me. There's just not a good trade. I just have to accept that I missed the initial move, even though I did get in on it. I just had bad timing, or not bad timing, unfortunate timing, and I didn't get a re-entry. So at this point, I just say to myself, all right, you can be patient. You can wait on your next level, the 54s through the 66s, to test to see if you want to be a seller or a buyer. So we rally into that zone. Pretty strong on the move up. It creates a low volume node, then we start consolidating. So at this point, I'm waiting for a retest of that low volume node to get long. We'll look at that real quick. So here's going to be the best picture of that low volume node on this intraday profile. Very clear volume built up, then a very clear lower area, then very, very clear volume built up at the top during this consolidation. And being in that 54-66 range, I was eyeing it for sellers. Like if I got really good confirmation that sellers were present, I would be A-okay with taking that. And what would we like to see for that? I'd like to see buyer absorption up here, then an aggressive sell-off. Which you kind of see. You see that buyer absorption and aggressive sell-off. But the way that price reacted to this low volume node, I wanted to try that first. If I get in this entry, we come up here and get destroyed up here by these buyers, then that might be a signal for me to then start looking for that sell setup. But the way it set up, I was first looking for those longs. So here's another picture of that low volume node. You can see it on this chart profile here. It's not as clean, but you can still see it. Formed on this aggressive buying. Did not get in on this initial entry. At this point, my low volume node hadn't developed well enough. That was just too risky and too early for me. When this gets transacted up here, that's when this volume really starts to build and we really start to see where the clear low volume node is. So then we get that sharp aggressive pullback, which I like to see. It starts to slow down, that's all right, but I still don't see anything great yet. Then we see this large buyer here and this large buyer here start to come in, so that piques my interest a little bit more. We're seeing buyers defend at this low volume node. Then we get one more little dump in, sellers kind of pick up a little bit, and you can see they get absorbed. And when that absorption occurs and this buying starts to lift price above where this buying came in, I get an entry. This is another 5-point risk on the trade, and it ends up playing out pretty nicely. Here's a better picture of that buying that came in to defend on the retest. And then looking here, you can see it's not a great picture of that low volume node, but you can see where it starts to taper off. And then from here, we're above that balance high. This low volume node was kind of a range where I wanted to gauge sellers and buyers. I could be either short or long here, depending on what the confirmations give us. And they said to be long. So we'll look at that trade a little zoomed out. There's my entry and stop as we dipped aggressively into this low volume node. We get a nice rally. Start to absorb seller or buyers up here at that high of day. So at this point, remember what I said. If that happens, if buyers get absorbed and sellers get super aggressive, I might look for shorts. This is the first step of that. We're seeing that buyer absorption, but we don't really see much seller aggression. They do get somewhat aggressive, but they can't get down much more than a few points from that high. You can see we started to build delta, negative delta, where those sellers were coming in. So I'm able to reduce my risk to below this delta level once we finally break the high. And then I get taken out at 2R for my first scale. We get another little push. I trail the rest of my position, which gets taken another 3 points above my first exit. And yeah, we end up doing 11.5 points on that for 2.3R. Pretty good trade. At the end of everything, we made 8.5 points and 1.7 RR. One win, one loss, up like $77 on the day after commissions. A pretty solid day. And I do want to just say, my profits are going to be really small on good days compared to some of those traders out there, but right now we're just chasing consistency, not worried about the dollar amount, just trying not to blow accounts and trying to prove that I can stay disciplined with my system over a long period of time. And once that happens, once I get a payout on the smaller account, then it's super easy to get a larger account, start trading bigger size, and scale up from there. But at the current state of the game where I'm at, I'm not in a rush. I'm just focused on taking good trades and following my daily rules, tracking good data, and yeah, A+ setups only. And these were two really good setups. Could have even gotten in one here. That would have ripped. But yeah, not mad about this day at all. Alright, kept that one a little bit shorter than yesterday. We're going to try to keep getting better at that. But yeah, that's it. Peace.